The abduction plan was flawless. At least, that's what Commander Vexar insisted. Fleetship Varnok hovered in low orbit above Earth, shielded by atmospheric distortion fields and cloaked in a plasma-dampening shell. The target was identified weeks ago. Florian Tarris, 34, former engineer, current wilderness survival instructor, and according to intercepted Earth broadcasts, a man that had once accidentally set fire to a bear-proof food locker using only a spark rod and a granola bar. To Vexar, this made Florian uniquely unpredictable. The high strategist had called him a potential asset or a destabilizing variable, which in Varnokian culture were essentially the same thing, so they decided to kidnap him. The operation began at exactly 03:12 local Earth time. The retrieval pod descended silently over the forested valley where Florian had last been sighted, setting down on a rocky ledge with no more sound than a sigh. Two extraction agents, clad in exogravity armor and equipped with neural containment lances, emerged. "Thermals show he's inside the shelter," Agent Luth said, tapping his visor. "Minimal movement, probably asleep." "Good," Agent Mar replied. "I'd rather not deal with a screaming one again." They slipped through the underbrush, bypassing the campfire circle and the half-disassembled solar cooker. The shelter was a crude log structure but sturdy. Luth triggered the door scan. No heat source inside, no life sign. Mar raised a brow. "You sure this is the right shelter?" "I triple-checked. He should be here." The agent swept the area. A trail of flattened grass led to a nearby ridge. "Tracks," Luth said. "Human shoe size." He wandered off. They followed the trail for over an hour through dense forest and across a shallow stream. Every so often they'd find marks: a broken twig, a heel print, a dropped pine cone with a bite taken out of it. "He's not running, he's just walking." Mar shook his head in disbelief. "Who wanders into the woods alone at night with no flashlight?" "Humans," Luth said, as if that explained everything. Just before dawn, the trail ended at a clearing. The agent stepped into it and stopped cold. There, at the center of a massive stone slab, sat the Varnokian war throne. Blackened steel forged from the hulls of fallen enemy ships. It had been lost during a skirmish 5 years ago, presumed destroyed. Yet there it was, and sprawled across it, snoring lightly, was Florian Tarris, shoes off. Arms folded across his chest, backpack used as a pillow. A half-eaten protein bar rested on the throne's armrest. Mar stared. "Is he napping?" "No way, this is some kind of trick." They crept closer. Florian shifted slightly and mumbled, "5 more minutes." Luth froze. "This is impossible." That throne was jettisoned in deep orbit over the Baltic Sea. No way he dragged it here. "Unless it wasn't lost," Mar said slowly. "Unless he found it first." They circled the throne. Florian's breathing was steady, no signs of stress, no weapons nearby. "What do we do now?" Luth whispered. "Wake him up, restrain him, secure the throne." "Orders." Mar stepped forward, then Florian's eyes opened. There was no panic, no confusion, just a bleary squint and a muttered, "Did you guys bring coffee?" Mar raised his lance. Florian sat up and blinked at it. "Laser stick, neat." "You cosplayers or something?" Luth stepped in. "You are being taken aboard Fleetship Varnok under Strategic Acquisition Protocol. Do not resist." Florian rubbed his eyes. "You're aliens?" "Yes," Mar said. "Cool." "You guys got a bathroom on your ship?" Before either could answer, Florian stood, stretched, and winced. "Oh, okay, definitely pulled something climbing that stupid rock." "You climbed up here?" Luth asked. Florian nodded. "Found the throne thing in a crater. Took me 3 days to get it out." "Worth it, though. Best nap I've had in months." Mar stared at him. "You dragged a half-ton war throne through the forest for a nap." "Technically, I rolled it most of the way. Used logs. Old trick." Luth turned to Mar. "We can't stun him. He's not resisting." Mar hesitated. "We could ask him to come willingly." Florian scratched his head. "Look, I'm not saying no, but I'm gonna need a sandwich, and maybe some muscle cream." Half an hour later, Florian sat inside the retrieval pod, munching on a fruit bar he'd brought in his cargo pants. The throne had been magnetically tethered to the pod's rear deck. Mar piloted, Luth monitored vitals. "You guys always kidnap people this politely?" Florian asked between bites. "Not exactly," Luth admitted. "Cool." Florian leaned back. "So what's the job?" "You guys need a mechanic or something? You are a strategic anomaly," Mar said. "Your presence disturbs predictive models," Florian chuckled. "I get that a lot." The pod docked with Fleetship Varnok. Inside, the command deck was a flurry of activity. Officers stopped mid-step as Florian walked in, flanked by his captors. The throne floated behind him on a grav plate. Then Commander Vexar appeared, 7 feet tall, violet skin and eyes like reflective glass. He looked at Florian, then at the throne. "You," Vexar said slowly, "slept on the war throne of core." Florian gave a thumbs up. "Real comfy, bit cold on the back though." Vexar turned to his officers. "Quarantine the throne, scan for contamination. Begin full interrogation protocol on the human," Florian sighed. "Look, I'll talk. Just don't take my protein bars." Vexar ignored him. "You are not to leave this vessel. Attempting escape will result in termination." Florian raised both hands. "Understood." He was escorted to a containment chamber bare except for a cot, a table, and a wall screen, the door sealed. Over the next days, Florian was interrogated, tested, and, to his bafflement, occasionally interviewed by what he assumed were alien psychologists. "Describe your decision to move the throne," one asked. It looked cool. "I was bored." "Explain your response to being abducted." "You guys offered snacks. I've had worse Mondays." They ran blood tests, scanned his brain, even made him solve puzzles. Florian did okay on most, terrible on a few, and managed to break one scanner by spilling tea on it. By the second week, he was granted supervised access to the ship's communal gardens. He met an engineer named Velik, who asked him about Earth tools. Florian explained duct tape using only gestures and a broken chair. By week 4, the throne had started glowing. "Should it be doing that?" Florian asked during breakfast. Vexar stood silently, watching the throne pulse with faint blue light. "It hasn't activated in centuries," Vexar said. "It responds only to command-level DNA," Florian frowned. "So, I'm in charge now?" "No," Vexar snapped. "You are." "An anomaly," Florian shrugged. "Still better than being an accountant." Then came the incident. A rogue faction border ship attempted to intercept the Varnok mid-orbit. Weapons systems overloaded. The fleet scrambled. Vexar was injured during a reactor surge. Command chain broke. Florian, meanwhile, had wandered onto the command deck during the commotion. Looking for tea, he saw the flashing red lights, the chaos, the throne unattended. He sat. The deck went dead silent. Systems froze, then rebooted. A booming voice echoed through the ship. "Command protocol restored. DNA confirmation, unknown. Temporary deferment granted." Florian blinked. "Did I just fix the ship?" One of the officers nodded slowly. "Great," Florian said. "Now someone tell me where the tea is stored." After the crisis, Florian wasn't confined anymore. He was given quarters, access to ship systems, and, inexplicably, a crew badge that read consultant. He didn't understand much of the tech, but he offered ideas. Most were useless, but his suggestion to bypass a coolant leak using a thermal loop ended up saving a science bay during a meltdown. The crew changed. They started asking him questions, not just about Earth but about intuition, risk, improvisation. He wasn't a hero, he was a curiosity. A useful one. Months passed. Vexar recovered but no longer questioned the throne's response to Florian. The throne had made its choice, however accidental. One day, as Florian sat in the garden with Velik, sipping something that might have been tea, he said, "I ever get to go back?" Velik hesitated. "You are not a prisoner, but we would like you to stay." Florian looked out the viewport. Earth was a distant blue marble. He smiled. "I'll stay a while longer, but only if you guys let me redecorate the throne room." Velik tilted his head. "With what?" "Beanbags, lots of them." Velik didn't answer. But a week later, the throne room had a new seating area. And sometimes, just sometimes, Florian would nap there. Not because he had to, but because it was his now. In a way he never expected, and no one ever tried to kidnap him again. the throne was sulking. Not in the human sense, with crossed arms and passive-aggressive silence, but in a distinctly alien way, refusing to interface with any system, emitting a low-frequency hum that made the maintenance drones roll backward in discomfort, and steadily increasing its internal temperature despite no apparent energy input. Velik tapped his communicator twice, then gave up and poked the throne with a heat sensor wand. The reading blinked amber. Still climbing, he muttered. Florian was flat on his back nearby, legs propped on a storage crate, shirt soaked with sweat. The throne room had been sealed off for 20 hours after the incident in the hydroponics bay, and nobody was sure if the throne's current tantrum was related to the emergency coolant reroute, or to the fact that Florian had spilled tea near its base that morning. Could be psychosomatic, Florian mumbled, or it's reacting to the new rug. Velik blinked slowly. It is forged from battle remnants of 1,000 enemy vessels. It does not respond to textiles. Then it hates me again. It has never liked or disliked you. It tolerates your presence. Florian sat up with effort and wiped his forehead. Right, because the glowing murder chair is known for its emotional nuance. A faint pop echoed from within the throne's core. Velik jumped back 2 steps. Florian didn't flinch. Do I need to move? Florian asked. Possibly. Will it explode? Unlikely. It may supercondense and implode into itself. That's worse. Velik hesitated. Agreed. 30 minutes later, the room was cleared, leaving Florian inside with 2 monitoring drones and an ambient temperature gauge. He lay back down, this time with damp cloths draped over his shins. A voice crackled over the intercom. You haven't collapsed yet. That's encouraging. Thanks for the glowing review, Vexar. I'll put that on my resume. You've caused a cascade in the throne's resonance matrix. It's refusing all command relays unless you're in proximity. Sorry for existing. Don't apologize. We're studying it, Florian sighed. That doesn't make it better. He shifted and winced as a cramp seized his side. The med drone beeped softly, then deployed a small nozzle to spray hydration mist over him. I'm officially a houseplant now, aren't I? Incorrect. You're considerably more difficult to maintain. The heat persisted for another 5 hours before the throne abruptly darkened, released a hiss of ionized gas, and powered down. Florian, by then half delirious, was carried out on a stretcher and deposited into the infirmary, where a medic named Drixel began scanning him with a handheld biosampler. This is the 2nd time your blood sugar has dropped below the acceptable range this week, Drixel noted. I keep telling you people I need more salt. You feed me like a hummingbird. You consumed 12 units of starch paste yesterday. Yeah, and I sweated out 14. Drixel made a noise that could have meant agreement or dismay. Florian was never sure with Drixel. The medic's face had no mouth, only a series of shifting membranes that pulsed when he was annoyed. I'm going to need to take another blood sample, Drixel said. Do I still have any left? You have plenty. You are biologically stubborn. Florian extended an arm and looked away as the sampling probe clicked. He'd gotten used to the needleless method skin contact, minor suction, nothing too invasive. Still, his stomach twisted a little every time he heard the fluid extraction. Any chance I'm developing heat resistance? He asked. Your body is stressed, not adapting. You've lost fluid mass and your electrolyte levels are inconsistent. So not a superhero, got it. You are not invulnerable. You are very mortal, comforting. Drixel adjusted the lighting, then handed Florian a protein gel and a bottle of some vitamin solution that tasted like liquefied chalk. You should rest. The throne will not activate again for at least 1 planetary cycle. Earth day or yours? Hours, Florian groaned. That's 38 hours. You require it. He didn't argue. He curled up on the cot, let the cooling blanket settle over his legs and closed his eyes. 12 hours later, he was woken not by alarms or temperature alerts, but by the sound of someone whispering. You sure it's asleep? I think so. Its breath rate is low. Florian opened one eye. Two crew members he didn't recognize, both with pale chitinous armor and elongated eye stalks, were hovering a few feet away, studying him like a living museum exhibit. "Guys," he said, voice hoarse. "This isn't a zoo. Stop narrating." They flinched. One dropped a data tablet. The other muttered something in a language Florian didn't recognize and scuttled out. Drixel appeared moments later, visibly displeased. "Unauthorized observation," he stated. "They've been warned before." "Do I need to sleep in a closet?" "Possibly." "It might be safer." Florian tried to sit up but felt the blood rush from his head, and Drixel caught him before he tipped over. "I'm fine," Florian muttered. "You are an unstable variable in a high-energy environment." "You are not fine," still not comforting. Drixel helped him back onto the cot, then activated a saline drip and adjusted the nutrient settings. Florian watched the clear fluid snake down the tube into his arm. "Why does the throne react to me?" he asked quietly. "We don't know. I didn't do anything. Perhaps that is why." The door opened again, this time for Velik, who looked like he hadn't slept. His left shoulder panel was still scorched from the last containment attempt. "We need you to come with me," Velik said. "Can I walk?" "Yes, but slowly." Drixel frowned. "He's not recovered." "He doesn't need to be. The situation has changed." Florian stood with help, pulled on his boots, and followed Velik out. The halls were quieter than usual. No chatter, no drone traffic. Emergency lights blinked every few meters. When they reached the observation deck, Florian saw why. A ship, massive, angular, and unfamiliar, loomed in the distance. It wasn't Varnokian. Its hull shimmered with a strange iridescence, and its shape kept subtly shifting as if refusing to settle on a single form. "What is that?" Florian asked. "We don't know," Velik said. "It arrived 6 hours ago, no transmissions. No response to pings. Have you tried hailing it in Morse code? We tried pulses in over 100 frequencies. No reaction." Florian leaned closer to the viewport. "Maybe it doesn't want to be noticed. It parked directly in our line of sight. Maybe it's bad at hiding." Velik didn't respond. Later that night, Florian was summoned to the throne room again, this time escorted by 2 security officers with stun batons holstered across their hips. The throne remained dark, but a projection floated above it, an image of the unknown ship, now closer. Vexar stood near the display, arms crossed behind his back. "We believe the ship is scanning us," he said, "but not in any known protocol. It ignores all electronic shielding." "Then it's looking for something else," Florian said. Vexar turned. "Possibly you." Florian blinked. "Me? Why? You are a statistical outlier. That makes you visible to entities that track deviation." "That's not science. That's astrology with extra steps." "Nonetheless, every time the throne activates, spatial distortions ripple through subspace. This vessel may be following those echoes." Florian approached the throne. "Does it react to fear?" "No, because I am not prepared to meet whatever that is." "Then don't meet it. Just sit." He hesitated, then lowered himself onto the throne. Nothing happened. Then a low tone vibrated through the room. The projection flickered. The unknown ship shifted again, this time its form settling, aligning itself into a symmetrical wedge. A single glyph appeared on the display. None of the Varnokians recognized it, but Florian did. It was drawn in red crayon, a lopsided version of the letter F. "That's my signature," he whispered. Vexar stepped forward. "Explain." "I used to sign my notes like that when I was a kid." The glyph pulsed. Then the ship began to move straight toward them. The ship did not slow. Florian stood from the throne but kept a hand on one of its ridged armrests. The projection flickered as the approaching vessel's hull shifted again, this time into a smooth, silvery surface that mirrored the stars around it. The glyph, his childhood signature, remained suspended in the air, pulsing gently. "Distance?" he asked without turning. Velik moved to a secondary panel. 50,000 kilometers and closing, velocity unchanged. "Has anyone tried just saying hello again, maybe in an actual human language? We've exhausted standard protocols." "Attempting direct human language transmission now." The room fell quiet except for the low hum of the throne and the soft beeping from the proximity displays. Florian watched the alien ship draw closer, its surface now entirely still, no longer shifting. It looked dormant, but nothing that big could be dormant while moving that fast. Vexar entered without announcement, his side still wrapped in a thermoplastic brace. He approached the throne but kept a deliberate distance from it. "You need to tell me if this is a human vessel." "It's not," Florian said. "We don't have anything like that, not even close. It bears your mark." "I drew that on the inside of a cereal box when I was 7. That thing's copying it, not the other way around." Velik's screen pinged. "New signal received. Unknown data stream. It's audio." "Play it," Florian said. A grainy hiss filled the room, then a voice. "Tinny, distorted, unmistakably human. Florian, you left the toaster on." Florian staggered back a step. "Is that your voice?" Velik said. "Low fidelity." "Likely a recording." "That's from my apartment," Florian said. "No one else was home. I said that out loud before leaving for a hike. There's no way anything recorded that." Vexar's jaw tightened. "Explain." "I can't. I didn't even own anything that could record audio and broadcast it to space." The voice repeated, warping slightly. "Florian." "Okay, that's getting creepy now." The ship outside began to rotate slowly, exposing a concave structure along its underside. It wasn't a weapon, but it wasn't ornamental either. Velik tapped rapidly at his console, energy readings increasing. "No radiation, but there's a directed field forming. It's not targeting us. It's scanning me," Florian said. "Correct." He turned toward Vexar. "If I step off the ship, can you guarantee my safety?" "No, didn't think so." The projection flickered again. The glyph vanished. In its place, an image. A crumpled piece of lined notebook paper, stained with what looked like juice, featuring a hand-drawn schematic of a go-kart made entirely from PVC pipe and lawn chair wheels. Florian squinted. "That's mine. I made that in Miss Harrow's class." "Who is Miss Harrow?" Velik asked. "She taught 3rd grade. This object is using your memories to communicate." "No, it's showing me my memories. It already knows them." Vexar stepped forward. "You are being targeted. We must prepare a defensive response." "No," Florian said. "It hasn't attacked. It's trying to get my attention." Velik frowned. "Why use these images?" "Because it doesn't know how to talk, so it's using what I already understand." The projection shifted again. A new image. A photograph of a dog mid-leap, tongue out, blurry with motion. Florian's chest tightened. "His name was Rocket. Yours?" "Yeah." The room was quiet again, then from the projection a sound that didn't belong, metal scraping. Wet, clicking noises like claws on tile. A new figure appeared, not a memory, a silhouette, wrong proportions, too tall, limbs too thin. Velik's screen blinked red. "New transmission. It's not visual this time, it's a location, a set of coordinates." "Where?" "Inside the ship. Secondary cargo bay." Vexar didn't hesitate. "Seal all decks except the bay, notify security, full containment posture." Florian stepped off the throne. "I'm going." "You are not. You need me." Vexar didn't answer. He didn't need to. The projection had gone dark. The ship outside stopped moving. Florian suited up in a reinforced environment suit. Not military, not armored, just something airtight with a rebreather and internal vitals monitor. He checked the seals twice. Velik waited by the corridor. "No weapons," Florian said. Velik handed him a data slate instead. "For notes, for leverage. If this thing has a sense of humor, I want to confuse it." The secondary cargo bay was at the lowest level of the ship, past redundant storage compartments and decommissioned labs. The walls were bare. No crew had been assigned here in months. They reached the door. Locked. Velik keyed in the override. The panel hissed open. Inside was nothing, just stale air and a faint electric smell. Then, from the far end, a shimmer, not light, not heat, a distortion. Something stepped forward. It resembled a human, but only in outline. Eyes too wide. Skin a fluid silver that rippled with reflections. It moved like it had studied humans but never touched one. Florian stepped in first. The door sealed behind them. The figure wasn't armed. It didn't speak. but it held out a hand. Florian didn't take it. "What do you want?" The figure tilted its head, then it projected an image between them, a spiral galaxy, then a zoom inward, a solar system. Earth, then a small sphere pulsing. "Are you from there?" The figure slowly nodded. "You're not human." It nodded again. "You've been to Earth." No response. "Why me?" The figure shifted again. The projection changed. Now it showed a room, Florian's childhood bedroom, messy. Posters half peeled off the walls, a broken desk lamp, then a crash, a burning flash. The room exploded outward, folding in on itself. Florian stepped back. "You saw that?" The figure pointed at him. Then at itself. "You copied me." It tapped its head. "Memories?" It nodded. Florian didn't speak for a moment. "You're not here to attack." Head shake. "You're looking for a way to understand." Small nod. "Then why send my own voice? Why the go-kart?" The figure held up a hand again. This time a new image formed, a drawing. Two figures, one human, one not, both sitting at the same table, simple, crude but clear. "You want to talk?" The figure nodded once. Florian exhaled. "Okay." He stepped forward, slowly. The figure didn't move. When he got close, it extended its hand again. He hesitated, then placed his palm against it. No shock, no jolt, just warmth. The projection dimmed. Outside, the unknown ship began to retreat. Velik's voice crackled through the suit's calm. Power levels dropping. Interference clearing. "It's leaving." Back in the throne room, Vexar watched the ship vanish into the stars, leaving no trail. Florian returned to the deck 20 minutes later, suit peeled halfway off, hair damp with sweat. "Well," he said, "that was weird." Vexar didn't ask questions, just stared. Velik watched the throne, still dormant. He said, "Good," Florian muttered. "Let it sleep." Later that day, the medical bay ran comprehensive scans, no anomalies, no radiation. Just mild dehydration, a vitamin imbalance, and elevated cortisol. Drixel prescribed rest and a new electrolyte regimen. As Florian lay on the cot, sipping something vaguely citrus, Velik entered and handed him a folded piece of paper. "What's this?" from the figure. "It left it behind." Florian unfolded it. A new drawing, 2 chairs, a table, a teacup, and a blurry dog with its tongue out sitting between them. He smiled. "Well," he said, "at least it has good taste."